Angela Yee. I'm Angela Yee, and Jasmine from the Jasmine brand is here.
Yes.
And Shontay Lundy, she's so fancy. She got us in here drinking champagne.
She's the first guest that has us drinking champagne.
Oh, right.
Right,
then,
Angela?
I'll take it.
She's classy.
Yeah, she is. Not trashy.
And it's blue.
Yes, makes sense.
Under the sea.
Matches my outfit.
Well, the founder of Black Girl Sunscreen, I have to say, Shontay Lundy is here. And a lot has happened since the last time I've seen you.
Yes. And the last time I saw you was, about a month or two
And
ago?
a lot has happened.
And a lot has happened. Black Girl Sunscreen, we did an iconic partnership with the Disney's Little Mermaid that has launched across the United States in all Ulta stores.
That is huge.
Yes,
That's major.
Yeah, everyone keeps saying that, and I need a second to process it all because Black Girl Sunscreen has worked really hard to get to this moment. It didn't just kind of like come our way and like land on our lap. There was a lot of just energy and work that was put into the brand, the building of the brand, the presence, and the awareness to even have Disney say, okay, let's jump in Black Girl Sunscreen's inbox, right? Our reputation.
Wow, that's
right?
how it happened. They jumped in your inbox.
Yeah.
Because I don't recall Disney ever doing something like this before.
No, it is one of the first, right? So there were actually 2 Black-owned brands that did this collab with Disney, us and Carol's daughter. But I think it takes a lot for them to say, this is who we're going to reach out to, right? They have a Black Girl Sunscreen had a dialed in community. Our message resonates with the community and they're doing great stuff. And this is who we want to align ourselves with and able to, bring the messaging forward of the Little Mermaid, right? Like what community is going to get behind it. And this is the community that matches to get behind it.
And by the way, The Little Mermaid is an iconic movie to be involved with just for so many different reasons, right? Like we've seen all of the quote unquote controversy that I felt was disgusting. People having issues with Halle Bailey playing the Little Mermaid and acting like, a mermaid was a real white person.
Right. Yeah.
How could that? But for it to go on and do the numbers that it did and even surpass the original is amazing.
It's dope.
Yeah. I was watching the numbers over the weekend, Memorial Day weekend, and it was number 5 over all top Memorial Day releases, which is
that's huge.
Super huge. The community showed up, and we have to continue to show up, not just for the movie, but for all partnerships. I will say this, talking about the point of the discuss in terms of her race, internationally didn't do well, right? Because female lead and then of color, not everybody is accepting of this role. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, because by the way, mermaids are not real. I don't know. If
I don't know.
So for
I don't know
you
if
to
you got
feel
the
like
memo.
the mermaid has to be a certain color is crazy. And I do want to talk about the packaging, though, by the way, because you do have some special packaging for everybody that is listening. So this might be something that you want to pick up. I was getting a facial the other day, and the one thing they said, I have to make sure that I'm continuing put sunscreen on my face every day because sometimes I slack in that. But we'll talk about that in a second. But let's talk about the Little Mermaid packaging that you have. It's limited.
Yeah, it is limited. And shout out to our product development team for making that vision come true. I'll tell you, it's not easy with these partnerships because we actually had to fight for that, right? Because there's certain additions that you have to adhere to when you're in a category. And Black Girl Sunscreen, we said, hey, this is what will resonate with our consumer more, right? This is what we actually want to design to. So we had to go through several layers of approval to use this packaging. And then we came up with the colors. We said, we want to do something completely opposite of what Black Girl Sunscreen is known for. Now, the caveat to that is when you go into the store, we don't necessarily know if the consumer associates Black Girl Sunscreen as that,
right?
Because it's so different, right? So pretty, so like eye-catching and whimsical, but do they know it's Black Girl Sunscreen?
Right.
So now we're trying to, talk about it, make it be visible, and have the consumer purchase it, but it's not all that easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's something to think about.
Yeah.
Because you do want to have that affiliation, but at the same time, you want to make it look different, make it look limited, but then you also want people to know this is Black Girl Sunscreen and make sure when this isn't available anymore, you're still with us.
Yeah. It could have been like a slight change. Maybe like the logo is gold. as opposed to purple, but we went with purple because it went with it, right? It made it really cohesive. But we're all really proud of the packaging, and that's just one element of it, right? You have marketing. We're on this like huge gigantic tour. We're in New York for a few events, but one of them we did in on 34th Street in Alta activation. So we have 3 more of them. So the next one is in Dallas.
Okay.
We'll be in New Orleans during Essence.
We're on in New Orleans. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to my girl Uptown, Angela.
We love her.
Yeah. So it continues to go, right? Like this is, it's been a 7-month journey. So that's a really fast turnaround in production.
That is.
Because you have to go through so many different levels of approval, and then to get product, made, go through the supply chain, and then get it to stores. Yes, it was.
So it'll be super easy for your next one,
right? So now the feedback has been, this has been the collab that we've all needed, right? This has literally been headlines. The collab that we've all needed, the best collab we've seen in whatever years. So it's kind of like, what is next?
Yeah,
right? What is a collab that we're like, okay, this is a no-brainer? But I will say that this was not necessarily a no-brainer for Black Girl Sunscreen. We took a vote in the company.
No, you did not.
We absolutely did. I opened up a lot of decisions to our team, right? Because
who said no?
Somebody said no.
Absolutely, there was like 3 or 4 people.
Oh.
And that's fine.
I know.
For different reasons.
Yeah,
for different reasons. I think sometimes going into the unknown is a little scary.
Yeah, what would be a reason to say no? I'm just curious.
I think going into the unknown is you could be a little apprehensive. What's the return?
Yeah.
Going
start
into
nervous.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the return?
Because it is also, you think, right, it might not be as much of a return, but it's also a huge marketing push. So it's kind of like more than a balance out of that.
And I would imagine it raises the profile of Black Girl Sunscreen.
Yeah, in terms of just working with high caliber organizations, that's really what elevates us. So it's not just, the Disneys of the world, but it could be, way up with Angela and iHeart, right? It could be, our USC collaboration. There's just so many ways that Black Girl Sunscreen positions themselves to capture an audience and to continue to grow with that organization. So the no's, I think, are just more about we're unknown. I can't speak for anybody. Right.
Everybody has their
hand
reasons,
down on both sides because I wanted to see who wanted to do what. And also like the workload, like this is another level.
Yeah.
So you're no longer really moving to the beat of Black Girl Sunscreen, but you're moving to the beat of this different organization.
Who got the DM?
Shontay.
Okay, so you saw the DM. What was your initial?
No, it was an email.
Okay, it was an email.
Yeah, it was an email. My reaction was, so we were actually tapped to do another film for Disney, so I wasn't really that surprised. And that film I really wanted to do, it just, in terms of when it hit the box office, it didn't align with Sunscreen season.
Okay.
So we entertained it, but then we passed on it. How did I feel?
Because you're so chill all the time.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine you getting do you ever be like...
Not so much, because I feel like, Angela, when you work hard, these things come.
Yeah.
Right?
But I still get excited over things. Like, I work hard, but I get so excited when... I honestly, I feel like I celebrate every little thing.
Good for you. I was excited for first time going to a Hollywood premiere.
I saw the dress, by the way. Amazing. Ooh. You looked amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Carrie is snapping, but over there. I really appreciate that because there's some backstory behind that dress. But, that the glitz and the glam and all the stops that Disney pulls out to promote their movie is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right. So I was definitely excited about that moment and being able to celebrate, just the highlighting of a Black woman in this key role.
Now we need to know the backstory behind the dress.
Well, there's this area called called Santee Alley in LA.
The alley, yeah.
The alley.
I lived there for 10 years, yeah.
I don't call it the alley, right? Because I've been there for 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, wholesale stores, right? And they have like this nice kind of row of dress shops. So I said I was going to go there for inspo. I just wanted to see what was going on. So I went down there, and that was the first dress I saw in the alley.
Wow, the first one.
The first one, and I picked it out and I looked at it, and I didn't want to try it on because
you didn't really try stuff on there.
Stuff on the alley, okay? And so they had a catalog of dresses, and I was like, okay. let me just take a picture of the catalog. And it was pretty pricey. And she's like, if you leave a deposit, no refunds, no exchanges. You got to come back for the dress. I'm like, well, I don't even know if I want this shit.
Right.
So anyway, I go back home, right, on that Saturday, and I'm like looking at the picture that I took. I'm like, oh, there's a designer. Because I don't know, there was like, my mind was all jumbled up. Like, what if somebody asked me what I'm wearing? Am I going to say Santee?
Yeah.
You know, like, you would have said Santee?
Yeah.
Okay. So I found the designer on Instagram. And I actually DM'd the designer. He sent the dress.
Oh.
So yes, I found it on Santee.
Yeah.
But then you went to the designer.
But I went to the designer. And I think that for me, it was like people, you might sleep on this area because it's, lower income, wholesale, whatever, but they have some good finds.
Yeah.
And that's the backstory. Nobody would have ever known that I got that dress.
That's a good
was
story.
Perfect for the Little Mermaid.
It's like the garment district.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, as you're talking about sunscreen season, because it is that season, I was just telling you earlier about the facial I got and the importance of sunscreen, because I want to make sure we always talk about that, right? Because part of why you have Black Girl Sunscreen is because you want to make sure that we do preventative things so that we don't get skin cancer, we don't get melanoma and things like that. You know, we've said this before, and I just want to always drive this point home, though. Just because we have melanin or darker skin does not mean that we do not use sunscreen.
Yeah, so we're coming off of Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and that's when. So I feel like Skin Cancer Awareness Month is equivalent to almost Black History Month, where it should be acknowledged every single month or every single day. And our push there was it was interesting because we had all of the Little Mermaid stuff happening at the same time. So like, what was that balance? How do we keep our core reason of why we are in business and what we're talking to our community about at the forefront while having this crazy big launch, right? So now we're just back to regular business as usual, talking about preventative measures. We don't necessarily talk about melanoma because we don't want to scare anyone. If you use your sun protection on a daily basis, then you should be good. If you're getting your annual, skin checks, then you should be good. So, some of our partners are the George Washington University. We do a Learn to Derm event every year. And what they do is they administer skin checkups to the community. It's a low income area. They do that for free. I think it's great with other sunscreen brands. So it's not just Black Girl Sunscreen. They have the gamut because they want people to understand that, like, hey, there are so many different options here. We partner with the American Cancer Dermatologist Group, right, to talk about it. And we've also vetted dermatologists and students to talk about the importance of sun safety. Really cool thing, though, and this is how small the world is to just small the world is. Black Girl Sunscreen, we did a scholarship for some derm students at Howard University, right? And there were 6 recipients of this scholarship, and we did the Learn to Derm event. One of the recipients was at the Learn to Derm, and she was so excited to see Black Girl Sunscreen and said, thank you for helping me get through my bar exam.
Wow.
Right? So these are the things that Black Girl Sunscreen is doing to say, hey, here's the forefront. Here's the first line of defense of who's going to be talking about sunscreen within the Black community and the brown community. So that's what we're up to.
And the Make It Matte SPF 45 and the SPF 30 lotion. Important thing also, by the way, of what I love about Black Girl Sunscreen is sometimes in the past, right, when I've used products, it can really get your skin to be clogged.
Oh, okay.
Well, chalky too, yes. I think the main thing about Black Girl Sunscreen is it's not chalky. But also clogging your pores up, because sometimes afterwards you'll get like a breakout, but with Black Girl Sunscreen, that doesn't happen.
Non-comedogenic is, I believe, how you pronounce it, right? So I think it just depends on which product you use. And we want all of our products to be that way, right? We want to serve as something that is right for your skin. We don't want to clog your pores. We don't want to leave a white residue. We only want you to feel as great as possible while using our products. So I appreciate you saying that it doesn't clog your pores, because that's actually not okay.
Yeah. No,
right?
That's an important thing for me. I used to hate putting sunscreen on my face. Like, I would put it everywhere else.
Yeah.
But my face, because it would make me break out, and I would, but this, I can use it every single day.
Yeah.
You're supposed to use it every day.
Yeah.
How do you feel about browning? How do you feel about, getting a little bit darker?
I love that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But I don't want to get burned.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, like, I want to make sure that I'm getting my sun. Listen, I know people who have gone on vacation and put on oil on their face to try to get darker, and not put on SPF, or they use a tanning oil and don't use any SPF, and that's not a safe thing to do.
That's wild. That's wild. The tanning. My mother used to use a tanning, like a browning agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to just do it like where I'm protecting my skin. I'm not trying to burn, because there's nothing worse than your skin peeling.
So how you feel about an SPF that will allow you to become brown too?
I think that's
Even
the
better.
goal. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Keep an eye out.
Okay.
Ooh.
And maybe a little shimmer, you know?
Okay, so I'm indifferent about shimmer.
She loves shimmer.
Yeah, so
I love a light.
You like a little shimmer. Because she'd be like,
I
look
do.
at this shimmer,
I
Jasmine.
do. I like a little light shimmer. Not as much on my face, you know, maybe,
Arms,
but
legs.
I do like a little shimmer. Why are you indifferent? Talk to me.
because it might speak to a certain audience, right? So I remember the first few, actually with Black Girl Sunscreen, I wanted to put shimmer in it, and I don't listen to a lot of people, especially when I have a vision. And my chemist was like, "Oh, you want to put shimmer in it? I think that you're going to eliminate a lot of women that don't like shimmer in their products, because it brings them down to like, okay, this might be a little, you know, teenage or jovial or whatever."
People do tell me
right?
that.
Yeah.
They're like, "What are you, a teenager?"
So we opted against it, but now because we have a foundation of products and have, you know, gained the reputation of it being a sunscreen brand, we can have these fun products.
Right.
So we can add the shimmers.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
Say no more.
Yeah. So
don't
we
threaten
can
her
do
with a good
that.
time.
With a good time, yeah. But you know what? It does look nice when your skin is glistening.
It
Yeah,
does.
I like
yeah.
to glisten.
Yeah.
Just be like, we here, girl.
Yeah. It does look good.
Does it come off when you're closed though, the shimmer?
I've
Okay.
never had that problem.
All right.
You don't seem a shimmerer to me.
I'm not a shimmerer.
So when you wear like a strapless dress, do you do a shimmer on the? Me too.
Yeah, I'm
It
boring.
just looks so nice.
It does
I
look nice on
legs,
people.
too.
Yeah. She's always trying. I was like, here, just put it. I'm like,
I do.
okay.
I have like all kinds of. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, Shontay, thank you. Is there anything that we should be looking out for too? Because I know you said look out for making sure we get a little brown while we tan. But what else can we?
Listen, it's summertime in New York City. It's summertime in New York City, y'all, and y'all out brunching, having a good time, right? So I will say, you know, stay protected and moisturized, but really, so as much as we're supporting the Little Mermaid, support the brands that are supporting that, right?
Yeah.
So head out to Ulta and support Black Girl Sunscreen and other brands that have done the collab, because it's very meaningful, and we actually need the community to support in order for everyone to succeed in this.
All right. Well, I'm a supporter.
Yeah,
Black Girl
thank you.
Sunscreen.
Yes.
Shontay Lundy, thank you so much for always coming through. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's toast to that again.
All right.
Again.
All right. And the last sip.